Hello all, welcome to my channel. I am Vivek Gaurav and I'll be teaching you dynamic programming. And before we proceed further, a humble request from my side. Please like and subscribe to my channel and also click on the bell icon so that you get notified every time a new video is coming up. Now, let's get started.
Today we are going to talk about conditional statement, and the topics we are going to cover today is that what is conditional statement, understanding the if else, understanding if else if ladder, and we'll be looking at some example. So again, I will recommend you that you do the hands on with me so that you can also practice, and you can use any of the editor like online editor using repl.it, or if you have installed PyCharm or Visual Studio Code, then you can practice from there as well. Okay, so now let's go ahead. So what is conditional statement? So before we go into discussing that, let us take a simple example that today you decided to go out to play. But of course, if it is going to rain, then you won't go out, right? So we can simply write like this: if it rains, right? If it rains, then you won't go out, correct? This is what we can write, that if it is going to rain, then you won't go out, right? And if it is not raining, so else you will, right? So now your decision to go out or not to go out is based on one condition. What is that condition? Whether it is raining or not. Okay, now the second thing is that we need to understand over here is that you cannot do both the things simultaneously, because the condition, it is not going like it is raining as well as it is not raining, so you will go out at the same time, you will not go out. That cannot happen. So either of these things, either this part or this part will happen, right? Either you will go out or you won't go out, based on whether it is raining or not. So whenever we talk about condition, the condition can be true or false, right? The condition can be true or false. If it is true, then you are doing something different. If it is false, then you are doing something different, and you are not doing both the things together. That is something that is very much important to understand, right? And the second thing is that if I am talking about here, if it is raining, then you will go out. If it is not raining, then you will not go out, but you can do anything. We are not specifying over here what you are supposed to do, what you are supposed to do. You can do anything whatever you want to, right? So only condition that we are checking is that if it is raining, if it is sunny, if it is winter, if it is cold, if it is like cloudy, we are not talking about all those situation. Okay, only situation we are talking about is that it is raining or not. Rest other season we are not concerned about that. Okay, so we are just dealing with one condition over here, and that condition can be true or false. If the condition is true, then you will not go out. If the condition is false, then you will go out. Okay, so similarly, many a times in programming language also, there comes a time where you have to take a decision. Okay, and decision making is the most important aspect of all the programming language. It doesn't matter whether you are learning Java, Python, C Sharp, .NET, anything you are learning, right? C, C++, whatever, right? It will definitely come there, and the concept will remain the same. Okay, so as the name implies, decision making allows us to run a particular block of code for a particular decision. Particular block of code means this was the particular block of code. If this condition is happened, this block of code will execute. If it doesn't, then this particular block of code will get executed. And here the decisions are based on the validity of the particular condition. If the particular condition is valid, then only certain things will happen, otherwise it won't happen. And condition checking is the backbone of decision making, right? So this condition, whether it is raining or not, this is the backbone of decision making. Why? Because based on this thing only you decide, you take a call. Okay, so going ahead, so conditional statements are used to execute a set of statement on some condition. Okay, there will be some condition and you need to execute a set of statement, whether that condition is true or that condition is false. So it provides a unit of block in which we can write either one statement or more than one statement. So there can be multiple statement also. Okay, and if the given condition is true, then the statements are executed, otherwise the body is skipped. Now how it is happening, we'll see in some time. So the type of conditional statement, if I talk about in general, so we have if, we have if else, we have nested if else, we have if else if ladder, and in other programming language we have switch case also, right? If I talk about in general, then switch case is also one of the conditional statement which is used in other programming language, though in Python there is no switch case. Okay, so now coming back here, so if statement, what it does, so the if statement is used to test a specific condition, like we were checking if it rains, right? If it rains, then you won't go out, right? So this is what we were doing. It is checking a specific condition, whether it is raining or not, you won't go out, right? And if the condition is true, if this condition is true, if it is raining, then the block of code will be executed. What is the block of code? That you won't go out. This block of code will execute it. This is if. Okay, we are not specifying what if the condition is false. In case you want to specify if the condition is false, then you come into this particular part, which is called if-else statement. So the if-else statement is similar to the if statement, except the fact that it also provides the block of code for the false case of the condition to be checked. Because here, if the condition is false, then we are not specifying what you are supposed to do. So if you want to, if I want to specify that if the condition is false, then what it will do, like if it doesn't rain, then else, I can write else over here, and I can write you will go out. Okay, you will go out. Okay, so now what happens is that if the condition is true, then this part of block will get executed. If the condition is false, then this part of the block will get executed. Okay, so if the condition provided in the if statement is false, then the else statement will be executed. And then we have nested if. Now this word nested is going to come many times. This nested is going to come in, if a statement, it is going to come in loops, it is going to come in functions. So many a time this statement is going to come. Now what happens over here is that in nested if statement, there is if statement inside the if statement, right? Like we can add one more thing over here. If it rains, and if it is raining, and if it is cold, then you will sleep, right? You will wear a sweater or something like that. We can add multiple conditions. So nested if statement enables us to use if else statement inside and outer if statement. Okay, there is if inside the if. So whenever this word nested comes, you always think of that a bird nest, right? A bird nest. How a bird nest is, a bird nest is like, things are there inside like this, one inside the another, right? So one thing inside the another is called nested. So in Python programming, the if statement is used to test the condition, and there are various types of if statement in Python. One is if, then we have if else, then we have nested if, and then we have if-elif ladder. Okay, so now important thing that we need to understand is that in Python there is something called indentation, which we have already covered in the previous video. In case you do not remember it, then go and watch that video. We have covered that part. Okay, let me reiterate that part once again. So for the ease of programming and to achieve simplicity, okay, Python does not allow the use of parentheses for the block level of code. What is block level of code and what is parenthesis? So in other programming language, what we do is that if we have to decide, give a block, we give a parenthesis like this and we write something like this. So now this particular things becomes a block. This particular things becomes a block. Whatever is written, it is a part of this particular block. Okay, but in Python we do not have that. Instead of that, what we have in Python is that you write something like if, and then you write a condition, then you give a colon, and then you start writing from here. Now when you are starting writing from here, you are leaving a certain amount of space here, and this space is called indentation. Okay, this space is called indentation. So indentation is basically a amount of space, a tab, or usually some amount of space, for space basically, which is given at the beginning of a line, which denotes that this statement is a part of the previous block. Okay, so Python indentation is used to declare a block, and if the two statements are at the same indentation level, then they are part of the same block. Okay, generally 4 spaces are given to indent the statement, which are a typical amount of indentation in Python. 4 space, or you can directly use tab button from the keyboard. It will give a certain amount of space, and that will be taken as an indentation. And indentation is the most used part of Python language, since it declares the block of code. And remember that whether it is loop, whether it is conditional statement, whether it is function or any other thing, every time you want to make a block, we are going to use indentation. There is no such concept of curly bracket here in Python. Okay, so if you have learned some other language and now you are coming back to Python learning it, you will have a tough time because you were used to giving this curly bracket. If you are learning it for the first time, then anyway it is simple for you. So all the statement of one block are indented at the same level, indentation, and we will see how the actual indentation work takes place in decision making and other stuff in Python when we are writing the program. So now coming back to if statement. So we already discussed about if statement. The if statement is used to test a particular condition. Only a particular condition is going to check, and if the condition is true, then it executes a block of code which is known as the if block. And the condition of if statement can be any valid logical expression which can be either evaluated to true or false. Always remember that every time there has to be a condition, or there will be a condition. It can either be true or it can be false. Okay, so let us have a look at the flow chart. So here we are checking the condition. Now this condition can be true, which we have mentioned over here, or it can be false, which we have mentioned over here. Now look at the two paths which it is following. If it is true, then we are following this path where it is coming across a block of code which is known as if code. Okay, and if it is false, then it is skipping this part. It is directly going following this path, and merging here, and both the things will lead to same thing, which is after if statement. But if it is true, it will execute this part also, which is not going to happen when it is false. So this is the flowchart of if, and this gives you a clear understanding or idea about how the things works in if statement. Okay, if I talk about the syntax, so the syntax is very simple. You directly write if, and then you write the expression, or you can write condition. Now this expression or condition can be given in a round bracket, or it cannot be given. That is completely optional. But after that you have to write a colon, and once you press enter here, the indentation will automatically come in any of the editor that you are using. Okay, so let us have a look at the example that we are having over here. Here what we are doing is that we are asking the user to enter a number and checking whether it is even or odd. Okay, now two things we need to understand over here. That first is that even, odd, how are we going to check that? Second thing is that why we are writing int over here. Now these are the two things that we need to understand. So the first thing is that when we talk about even, odd number, so let's suppose, right, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, these are the even number, and like that. So some people, when I ask what is an even number, they say that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Some people say that a number that ends with 2, 4, 6, 8, 0, they are even number. But the problem is that how are you going to make the computer understand about that? So you have to redefine this even number concept in such a way that computer can understand, or you can figure out a logic. Okay, so now 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. If you will look at these numbers again, all these numbers are divisible by 2, right? All these numbers are divisible by 2. Now divisible by 2 also, when I say, it is not helping me to come to a proper logic, right? How are we going to decide whether the number is divisible by 2? So for that we have to take out one more sub concept out of that, which is that if a number is divided by 2, what is the remainder? What is the remainder? If a number is divided by 2, let's suppose I have 10. If I divide this by 2, then the remainder, and modulus operator, we have already covered in the operator section that we have an operator called modulus operator, which helps us find the remainder. Okay, so if you divide a number by 2, and if the remainder turns out to be 0, then that number can be an even number, and that number is an even number, in fact, right? So how did we change the even number logic? First of all, we thought that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Then we thought that any number which is ending with 2, 4, 6, 8 or 0. Then we said that any number which is divisible by 2. And then we figured out that a number when divided by 2 leaves 0 as remainder is going to be an even number. And when we took that definition, we actually can write the code. We actually can write an expression. Okay, this is the thing that we are using. Second thing is that why we are using int over here. So now the problem with Python, okay, is that when you are using input function, which is used to take input from the user, input function, you write something like input and then you give a prompt, right? Prompt is a message which you are giving to the user, based on which he will take he will understand what he has to enter, and he will enter. And whenever you are giving an input, you need to store it in a variable. You need a variable to store, right? Variable concept you have already understood. So now when an input is taken, by the input function, by default it is a string. By default it is a string. Okay, now with a string you cannot perform these operations. It is impossible to perform these operations, right? So what you have to do is that you have to convert that string into an integer, right? So you have to convert that string into an integer, and that whole process of converting one type of data. So basically what you are doing is that you are converting what? You are converting a string. Okay, you are converting a string to integer, right? This is what you are doing. And now this process is called as typecasting. Okay, typecasting is a very a useful concept in any of the programming language. And what does it mean is that converting one type of data into another type of data. So now what we are doing is that whatever input we are taking, whatever input function is taking, which is a string, right? We wrote int before that, and what happens is that it got converted into integer. So now the number which the user has given, though Python took it as a string, but we converted it using the typecasting into an integer, and now we have that number as integer. Okay, so now what I will do is that I'll take you to the editor and write the code for you. But before that, what I will do is that I'll open the pen, okay, so that I can write it also. So now let me show you what happens. Let's suppose I have a number num1 equal to, okay, I have got the pen, let me keep it in the side. Num1 is equal to input, And then here what I'm doing is that here I'm writing enter first number. I'm just showing you about that. First I'm showing you about how the typecasting work. Okay, so just let me increase the size of it. Okay, let me just increase the size of it. I hope this will work. Okay, it is not working. So where is the editor? Where is the editor option? Terminal options, preference, settings. I have that text editor? Yes, text editor. So let me here increase the size of it. Okay, let me increase the size of it, and let us see cursor font. Okay, so now font size is there, font size is there. So what is the font size? Font size I'll make it to 18 will be good. 18 will be too big, I believe, but let us see how it is. 18 is good enough. Chalo. So now num1 is equal to input enter first number, and then what we have is that we will take another number num2, and then here also I will take input. Okay, input enter second number, enter second number. Second spelling is wrong, second number. Okay, so now I'm asking the user to enter two number, and then what I'm going to do is that here I'm going to print the sum of that num1 plus num2. Okay, or I can give a message also. If you want, I can give a message, the sum is num1 plus num2 comma I'll give here. Okay, now you see, first of all, when I wrote input, what did I do is that you see here when I'm giving input, it is giving a message input prompt any. Now what is prompt? So the prompt string if given is printed to standard output without a trailing new line before reading input. And what is the use of that? When I'll run this program, you see the same message is going to come to the user, and it will wait. The cursor will wait over there. Now see, it is coming into first number. So here I'm writing, let's suppose 5, and then it is asking me second number. I wrote 4, and then I'm writing 5. So answer should be, what should be the answer? The answer should be 9. But what I'm getting here, I'm getting 45. Now why it is coming as 49 or 45? Okay, let us try to understand that part, that why it is coming as that. So now what happened is that by default, what it did is that by default input function, took everything as a string, right? It took everything as a string. So now what was happening is that since it took as a string, so the first number is coming as 4, okay, and the second number came as 5, which is again a string. Now forget about this. Let's take about another example. Like you have hello, and then you try to add world to it, right? What you will get as the output? You will get hello world as the output. This is what happens with a string when you add that. Basically what it does is that it concatenate, right? Concatenate. Now, don't you think the same thing is happening here? 4 and 5, 45 is coming here as the output. Can you see that? 45 is coming as the output. Why? Because it was coming as a string. Now, you see what will happen when I do typecasting. If I write int and put everything inside this bracket, and here I will write int, you see what difference does it make? Okay. So, now what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to do typecasting over here. Okay. I'm actually going to do typecasting over here, and then I put a bracket over here at the end. Okay, like this. And then if I save the program and run it now, you see if I enter 5 and then I enter 4, instead of 54 I will get 9. Okay, can you see that I'm getting 9? This is what happens with typecasting. So that was all about input and int. Now coming back to the same program that we were talking about. So I'll take a number from the user and I'll convert it into integer, and I will write here input enter first number. Okay, I'm writing enter first number. Then what I will do is that I will take another variable called remainder is equal to, and I'll write num modulus 2. Okay, I will write here num modulus 2, num modulus 2. So what I'm doing is that I'm finding the remainder when the number is divided by 2. Now here you see what I'm writing. Here I'm writing if remainder equal to 0. Okay, we have already seen in the comparison operator that remainder equal to 0 is going to give you true or false based on the value. Then what I will do is that now you see here, the moment I give colon and press enter, you see there is a certain amount of space which the computer has left, which the interpreter has left. Now this is called as indentation, and here I am writing this is an even number. Okay, here I'm giving a message, this is an even number. And after that what I will do is that if I press enter, it is coming in the same indentation. I don't want to come in, don't want to be in that indentation. My work is done. Okay, I'm pressing a backspace, it went back, and here I will write end of if statement. Okay, end of if statement. Now you see if I run this code, okay, and it is asking me a number. If I enter 6, it is giving me this is an even number and end of if statement. I hope you can clearly see that, though the font is small, but you can see that this is an even number and end of if statement. Okay, now let us try to add another, let us try to run it one more time, and this time I'll enter 5. So now you see what it is giving me. It is giving me end of if statement. It is just giving me end of if statement. Okay, nothing else. Now what I will do is that I will try to debug the code for you, okay, and then I'll show you how it works. So now I'm debugging the code. So it is asking me a number. So let's suppose I'm entering 6 for the first time. So the moment I entered 6, now you see remainder is equal to number is equal to 6, remainder is 0. If I check this condition, if I add it to the watch, okay, if I add it to the watch, you see it is coming as true over here. It is coming as true. So what will happen? It will go to line number 4. Okay, you see it will go to line number 4. It is going to line number 4. It is going to print, this is an even number which it printed, and then it will print line number 5 anyway, end of if statement. So this is how it was working. When the condition was true, it went to line number 4. Now let me run it debug it one more time, and this time I'll enter a number which is 5. Okay, and now you see number is 5, remainder is 1, because when you divide 5 by 2 you get 1 as the remainder. This condition is coming as false. Now you see what happens. It directly went from line number 3 to line number 5. It did not go to line number 4. It means what? It is skipped that particular line number 4, and this is what we were talking about, that when the condition is false, it is skips the body. Okay, this is what happening. Now the point is that we are not getting any message if the number is even, like, if it is odd. Then in that case what we can do is that we can add a else part over here, and similarly we'll write a bracket, and here I can include print this is odd number. Okay, we can give a message. And now if I run the code, if I save this, and now if I run the code, now you see if I enter 6, I'm getting this is an even number, end of if statement. If I run the code again and here I enter 5, here I'm getting this is an odd number and end of if statement. And now if I debug the code, okay, now if I debug the code, and here if I enter 6, okay, not there, I should enter 6, here I should enter 6. Now you see where it will go. It will go to line number 4, and after that it will directly jump to line number 7. You look at this yellow line which is there, okay, yellow marker. Now you see it went inside. Why? Because the condition was true. Remainder equal to 0 was true. It went inside and directly it jumped to line number 7. So if the condition was true, it did not execute the else part. It did not execute the else part. It directly went to the end of if part, where the if statement and else statement was getting over. Let me debug it one more time, right? Let me debug it one more time with an odd number. So here what I'm doing is that here I'm entering 5 number, and now look at the flow. This condition is coming as false. This is coming as false. Now what will happen is that it will directly come into line number 6. You see, it directly came into line number 6. Why? Because the condition was false, so it did not execute this part. It directly came into this part, and anyway it will go to line number 7 now. This line number 7 will happen anyway. Why? Because it is outside, it is in the same indentation of if and else, right? So that is a normal statement which anyway it will come, and the interpreter will come over there. And now you can see this is an odd number we got because line number 6 got executed, and when I'll come out of this, I'm getting end of if statement also. So this is how the if and the else part works. Okay, if the condition is true, then the if part will happen. If the condition is false, then the else part will get executed. Okay, so this was all about if and else. Now what we'll be doing is that we'll be going back to the editor and continue. So I hope this part is clear to you. Okay, we have another example where what we are doing is that we are checking program to find the largest of the three number, and here what we are doing is that here we are asking the user to enter a, asking the user to enter b, and asking the user to enter c, storing it in three variables a, b, and c. And here you see we are using logical operator and, okay, and you know already logical operator how they work. We have already spent a good amount of time understanding each and everything. So if a is greater than b and a is greater than c, then a is the largest. If b is greater than a and b is greater than c, then b is the largest. If c is greater than a and c is greater than b, then c is the largest. Okay, so if you want, and here we have entered the number 100, 120, 130. So we can see that 130 is the largest, c is the largest. So if you want, let me write this program also. So what I will do is that I will just make this as a, and here I will copy this line and I will paste it like this. I'll change it to b, and here I will change it to c. Okay, I'll change it to c, and here I will make enter second number, and here I will write enter third number. Okay, and now you see what I'm writing. If a greater than b and okay, and a greater than c. If a is bigger than b as well as a is bigger than c, then what I'm doing is that print first number, okay, first number is greatest. Okay, first I wrote first, so now I'll copy this line, or I'll copy the whole thing. Okay, now I'll go out of the indentation and paste like this, and here I will do like this, and here I will write b greater than a, b greater than a, b greater than a, and b greater than c. Right, in that case what should happen is that your second number is greatest, right, your second number is greatest. And here if I'll write c, here if I'll write c greater than a and c greater than b, right, c greater than b, then in that case what will happen is that your third number is greatest, right, your third number is greatest. Okay, now what I will do is that I'll save this and run the code for you. So here it is asking me enter first number. So let's suppose I entered 100, second number I am entered as 200, third number I entered as 300. So I'm getting third number is greatest. Okay, let me clear this part. Now it is fine. Now what we will be doing is that let us debug the code. Okay, let us debug the code. So now it will ask me three number. So I'm asking the first number. I entered the first number as, let's suppose, I'm making the first number as greatest this time, 300, and then second number is 200, third number is 100. Now you see, if I'll check this condition, add to watch, you see what will happen. You see, a greater than b and a greater than c is true. If I want, you want me to split it, I can split it also. A greater than b, I'll just check, which is true, and a greater than c also I'll check. That is also coming as true. Since both of the conditions were true, that's the reason and condition is true. So what will happen is that it will come into this line, and from there itself the program will get over. Okay, the program will not get over. Why? Because it is a if statement, so it will go to the other part as well. I forgot that part. Okay, but the other statement, you see, these two are going to be false. You see, these two, this is false and this is also going to be false. So what will happen is that it will go to that condition also and it will check. Okay, so I have added all these condition over here. Now you see what is happening. It came to this part, it is false, it will skip. It came to the other part because that is also an if statement, and there also it will skip because that condition is false. Okay, so now you understood, if you have multiple ifs, each of them is going to get checked. Okay, and they will only get executed when the condition is true. There is no else statement in any of these if. We have only written the if part over here. Okay, so that was all about finding the largest of three number. Okay, finding the largest of three number. Now coming to the if else part. So the if statement provide an else block combined with the if statement, which is executed if in the false condition, the false case of the condition, which you have already seen, right? So if the condition is true, then the if block is executed, otherwise the else block is executed. Look at the flowchart here. We have the condition here. If the condition is true, then what is happening is that the if block is getting executed. And if the condition is false, then also we have a block which is called else block, which will only get executed when it is following this path. And this path is the false case. This path where the if block is coming, that is the true case. Okay. So in any case, only one of these, either this part or this part, will get executed. Both of them cannot happen together. Second thing that you should remember is that you never write a condition with the else. You never write a condition with else. After else, you only give a colon. Okay, you never write a condition with the else part. Okay, let us talk about, we already talked about two numbers, right? Let us take about another situation where what happens is that you are talking about, okay, look at the syntax first. So if condition, then colon, then the block of a statement which is for if, right? And then in the else part again you write colon, and then you again write another block of statement which is for else. Okay, so let us take one condition, one example. Okay, so let's suppose here what is happening is that you have two number a and b. Now what can happen with these two numbers? There are three relations which can exist. One is like a greater than b, the other is like a less than b, and the other is like a equal to b. These are the three situations which can happen. Either the first number is greater than the second one, or the second number is greater than the first one, or both of them are equal. And if you write something like if a greater than b, okay, and then you write print a is greater, okay, if you write something like this, okay, if you write something like this, and in the else part you write print b is greater, then you know what will happen. I'll show you in the editor what is going to happen. Okay, so let me take you to the editor and write this program and explain it to you what I was trying to convey. So what I will do is that I will just delete all these things. I will have two number, and here I will check if a greater than b, then what I will do is that I will print first number is greater, first number is greater. Okay, and then what will happen is that in the else part, what I will write is that I will write print second number is greater. Okay, second number is greater. Now you will think like, everything is perfect, so let us run the program. So I entered 14 first, and then I entered 5. Of course first number is greater, so I'll get first number is greater. Absolutely fine. I'll run the program again. This time what I'll enter is that I'll write 5 and 14. So in this case my second number is greater, so you can see second number is greater is coming. Right now there is a third situation as well, where I'll enter 5 and 5. Now what should happen? Where it will go into the if, it will go into the else, and the answer is that it will go into the else part, and I'll get second number is greater. Now the question is that why it is going into the else part. First of all, what happened is that you had three conditions. Where you had a greater than b as one condition, the second condition was that a less than b, and the third condition was that a equal to b. What you wrote in the if part, you only wrote if a greater than b, so you covered this part. The other two cases were not covered. The other two cases were not covered. So where it went, it directly went into the else part. So all those cases which you are not considering, will automatically become a part of the else case. Okay. And anyway, if I check a greater than b, if I am checking both the number as 5, so is 5 greater than b? No, the condition is false. 5 is not greater than b. So automatically it will go to the else part, because you haven't specified any other condition to be checked. And anyway, with the else part, you cannot check a condition, right? Now the question arises is that, what if I want to add a condition, one more condition over there? What do I need to do? And the answer, you will get the answer in couple of minutes. So I hope you understood that the condition that you are specifying, only that condition will be checked. All the other conditions will automatically become a part of the else, and with the else you never check a condition. You cannot write else a greater than a equal to b. Some people do that mistake, and the important thing is that with the else you cannot write a condition. That is an important thing that you need to remember. You let me write it over here and check. If I write a equal to b, what will happen? You see, I'm getting an error, right? I'm getting an error. If I run this program, you see what will happen. I'm getting an error. Invalid syntax, a equal to b, right? With the else you never write a condition. So that is an important thing that you need to understand. Now coming back to the editor again, PPT again. So if else statement, here what we are doing is that program to check whether a person is eligible to vote or not. One more example we have taken. We are asking the user to enter the age and enter your age. If the age is greater than 18, we are giving him you are eligible to vote. Otherwise we are giving sorry, you have to wait. Okay, and this is a very simple one. You can try on your own. I'm not going to write this. Okay, you can try it on your own and it is going to work absolutely fine. And here you see e greater than equal to, right? Both the conditions are there, greater than equal to. So if you enter 18 also, it is going to say you are eligible to vote. Anything other than less than 18, it is going to give you sorry, you have to wait. Okay, another example that we have, which we have already covered up before, whether a number is even or not. So that time only I showed you, if num modulus 2 equal to 0, I took it in this way. I did remainder is equal to num modulus 2. I did it in that way, num modulus 2, and then I checked if remainder is equal to 0, remainder equal to 0. Other than that, what you can do is that instead of having this variable, you can directly check that. I do not want it to complicate it, mixing two expressions. That's the reason I took it in another variable. Okay, but this way also you can do. Okay, and you can add a else part over here. So now I believe that if and else statement is completely clear, right? Now we'll come to the next statement, which is called as elif statement. Now what is elif statement? So few minutes back we were discussing about, you remember that what if I have to check multiple conditions? The else statement does not provide me that, right? So your problem is going to get solved by the elif statement. So the elif statement enables us to check multiple conditions and execute the specific block of a statement depending upon the true condition among them. Okay, depending upon the true condition among them, it executes the specific block of code, and we can have any number of elif statement in our program depending upon our need. However, using elif is optional. Okay, you can use it, you cannot use it. There is no such thing like you have to use it. So the elif statement works like an if-else-if ladder in C statement. If you know C, then you know what is else if over there. In case you do not know it, then forget this line. And it must be succeeded by an if statement. There has to be if statement at the top, then only all elif will come into picture. Otherwise, it doesn't come. Okay, so now what is elif? Elif basically, combination of two words, else and if. With the else part you wanted to add a condition. You cannot add a condition with else. So for that reason, you wrote if, and then you are writing a condition. Okay, it is as simple as that. But in the else, se we removed, so it became elif. Okay, it became elif and then your condition. See here, if expression 1, then a particular block of a statement will happen. If this condition is not satisfied, you want to add another condition, so you wrote elif over here, then you added expression 2 and you added another block. If that also was not good enough, you wanted to add some more expression, some more condition, you added one more elif, and then you wrote the expression 3 and then a block of code for statement 3. And at the end, once you are satisfied with added all the condition, you want to give a final statement of else, you wrote else and the block of a statement which belongs to the else part. So what will happen is that first this condition will be checked. If this condition is false, then only this condition will be checked. If this condition is false, then only this condition will be checked. And if this condition is also false, automatically it will come over here. But if this condition itself is true, then all these things will not even happen because it is elif. Okay, so in the if else, just like it happens, if the if part got executed, the else part never used to happen. Similarly, in the elif part, if one of the condition got matched, the other conditions are not even going to be checked by the compiler, by the interpreter. Okay, see the flow chart. We have one condition over here. If this condition is true, then what we are doing is that we have a statement 1. If this condition is false, then we have added one more condition, and for that condition we have another statement if it is true. If this condition is false, then we have added another condition over here, and if this condition is true, then we have a statement 3, right? So in any case, either it is going to follow this path or it is going to follow this path, right? It is not going to follow like, this will also happen and then this will also happen. It is not going to happen. Let's suppose if the first condition was false, it came over here. If it is true, then it followed this path. A statement 2 got executed and it went to the next statement. This path and this path was not executed. Okay, let us have a look over here that we are asking the user to enter a number, okay, converting into integer. And what is that called? Remember it is called as typecasting. Okay, typecasting is a process of converting one type of data into another type. So we are checking if the number is equal to 10, we are giving number is equal to 10. Elif, if the number is equal to 50, we are giving a number is equal to 50. Elif, if the number is equal to 100, we are giving number is equal to 100. Otherwise, number is not equal to 10, 50 or 100. Okay, this is what we are doing, and the user entered 15 and we are seeing number is not equal to 10, 50 or 100. Okay, so let me go to the editor and write the code for you. Okay, so what I will do is that I will ask the user num equal to int and then input and then enter a number. Okay, we are asking the user to enter a number, and then here I will check if num equal to 10, then what happen is that print it is 10. Okay, and now what I will do is that here I will write elif. Okay, elif num equal to 50, then what I will do is that I will print here it is, okay, one second, it is 50. Okay, and then what I'm doing is that I'm writing one more elif. Okay, I'm writing one more elif, elif num equal to 100, then what I'm doing is that I'm giving a message print it is 100. Okay, and then in the else part, what I will give a message is that printf it is not 10, 50 or 100. Okay, just a simple message just to show you how it works. Okay, so let us run the program and debug the program also. Okay, let us debug the program also so that you understand the flow. Okay, so now it is asking me I enter number, so I entered 10. Okay, let us go with the test cases. So when I entered 10, what happened is that, okay, it did not debug. Let me debug it. Let me debug it. So it is asking me a number, so I entered 10. Now you see what happens. Let me remove all these expression, remove all expression, and let me add this num. You can see num is equal to 10. So this condition is going to be what I'll add all these things. Num equal to 10, num equal to 50. Okay, I'll add all these three conditions into the watch so that you can have a look. You see num equal to 10, this part is true. So what will happen is that it will execute line number 3 and that's it. The program will get over here itself. It will not go into any other line. You see the program got over, we got it is 10. Okay, now let us debug it one more time, and this time we will debug it with a number, with a number of 50. Let us see how it happens. Now you see when I entered 50, you see first condition is false, second condition is true, third is false, right? So what will happen is that it will skip line number 3 and it will come to line number 4 directly. You see it come to line number 4, and now this condition is true, so it will go inside. It will go inside line number 5 and it is printing it is 50 because this condition was true. right? And then the program got over. Let us debug it one more time with the third condition, and the third condition is 100, right? So in this case, the third condition will be true, like num equal to 100 is it true. So now what will happen is that it will skip this part, it come to this part, it came to this part, there also the condition is false, it went to the other case, and then here it found it to be true, so it executed this part and the program got over, right? So you see, only if a particular condition is false, then it is coming to the next case and checking whether that condition is true. If that condition is also false, it is going to the next case. If a particular condition is found to be true, beyond that it is not going, the program is getting over there itself. Okay, so let us test the last case that we have, where we are entering any number, right? Where we are entering any number, like, I'm entering over here 11. Okay, so now what happens, all the test cases are false, right? So the first case, this is false, it will go and check the other case. It is coming here and checking, this is also coming as false. It is coming here and checking, this is also as false. So now what it will do, it will directly go into the else part, because there is a else part. So all the other conditions which are not specified, automatically they become a part of else. So it went into else part and it is printing, it is not 10, 50 or 100, and we are getting an output, it is not 10, 50 or 100. Okay, so this is how the program is working. I hope that you are getting a better picture now how the if else if statement are working. Okay, here we have taken another example where we are asking the user to enter the marks, and the user is entering a marks, and here what we have done is that we have used the logical operator. So if the marks is greater than 85 and the marks is less than 100, printf congrats, you scored A. Elif, if it is greater than 60 and less than equal to 85, then we are giving a message, you scored B plus. Elif, if it is greater than 40 and less than equal to 60, then you scored B. And if it is greater than 30 and less than equal to 40, you scored C. Otherwise, we are printing a you fail message. Okay. So another, again, I will recommend you that you solve this program. The exact statement and everything is there. So you try to do it, and in case you can debug it also, you do it. Otherwise, if you cannot debug it, then just try to do the same thing in your notebook, right? So you enter a marks, like how to do in notebook. So you make a, like, you write the variable name that you have. So you have a variable called marks, right? You enter the variable. So let's suppose I entered a variable called 70. Now what is the first statement I'm checking? 70 greater than 85 and 70 less than equal to 100. Okay, 70 is greater than 85, this is false, and this is 70 less than 100, this is true. So now and is there. So true, false, and true, what will happen? It will be false. So it will not go into this part, then it will go into the this part. What is the second situation? Second situation is that 70 is greater than 60, right? And what is the second situation? 70 is less than equal to 85, right? 70 less than 60, yes, it is greater than 60, yes, it is true. And what is the second situation? 70 less than 85, right? That is also true. So both the situations are true, and there is an and over here, so the output is going to be true. So this part will get executed. So what did you score? You scored B plus, right? This is how you can do it in notebook in case you do not have an editor, right? When I learned coding, that time there was no editor. We did not have that privilege of having a PC or a laptop. I learned coding way back in the year 2002, right? And I did all these things in notebook. Okay, so notebook pen, the conventional approach is still better, and you learn a lot more things over there. Okay, so now talking about nested if statement. What is nested if? We already talked about, if you have if within an if statement, it becomes a nested if. So nested if is an if statement that is the target of another if statement. Okay, that is the target of another if statement. Nested if statement means an if statement inside another if statement. And yes, Python allows us to nest if statement within an if statement. We can place an if statement inside another if statement, and in fact you can place as many as you want, provided you know how it is working. So look at the syntax. If condition 1, we have an indentation here, and now again another if statement is starting, right? And then we have another condition here too, and this is the indentation of the second if statement. So now there is two indentation. One indentation is this one for this if, and now this belongs to, this particular thing belongs to this if condition 2, and the if block is ending here, the if block is end here. Okay, this is the flow chart. We have a text expression over here. If this expression is true, then we have nested text expression, right? So if this is true, then we are checking another condition. If this is true, then we have body of nested if. If it is false, then we have body of nested else. And anyway, both of them will lead to the body of else part, it will lead to the after the text expression, the main if statement. Okay, it will lead to that place. So look at one of the example that we have taken. We have taken the value of I equal to 10, and we are checking if I equal to 10. Okay, and inside that we have another one, like if I less than 15, then we are printing I is smaller than 15. Okay, so this is a nested if, though it doesn't make much sense, right? This example, this is just for showing it to you. But again, you can see that there is one if inside the another if, and again we have another condition we are checking. If I less than 12, print I is smaller than 12 2, or I is greater than 15. In the else case, we are getting I is greater than 15. Okay, so this is an example of nested if. Okay, and we will get, like, if we'll run this code, if the value with I equal to 10, so this will go inside, right? And here it will check 10 less than 15. Is 10 less than 15? No, the condition is false, so it will not go inside. It will come here. 10 less than 12. Okay, wait. 10 less than 15. Yes, that is true. That is true, right? 10 is less than 15. So it will print I is smaller than 15. So we'll get I is smaller than 15. Then it is coming here. Is 10 less than 12? Yes, the condition is true. So it will give I is smaller than 12 too. So you see, we are getting two message: I is smaller than 15, I is smaller than 12 too. Okay, now what I will do is that I'll just show you an example of this nested if so that you can understand it in a better way. And what we'll be doing is that we'll be taking an example of those three numbers that we had, right? I input, finding the greatest among three number, enter first number, right? I'll write like this. Okay, we'll take that example and we'll continue with that. And then B and C, I'll make it B, and here I will make it as C. Okay, and here I will make it to second, and here I will make it to third. And now what I will do is that, you see, I'm first checking if A greater than B. Okay, and here what I'm doing is that I pressed give colon and pressed enter, indentation automatically came. Here I will check if A greater than C, right? If A greater than B and A is also greater than C, then what I will happen is that print first number is greatest, right? First number is greatest. Otherwise, if it is not the case, then what will happen? I will print a message, print second number is greatest. Second number is greatest. Okay, not the second number, actually it should be third number, right? It should be third number. Okay, and then what I will do is that I can write elif over here, or I can again write if over here. So let me write if only. If B greater than C, okay, and if B greater than C. Okay, why to do like this? We can, we can use elif, and that actually will make the program simple. So let me use elif. Okay, if B greater than C. So if B is greater than C, okay, let us write a simple way so that you do not get confused. Okay, if B is greater than C, and here I will check if B greater than A. Okay, now what I will do over here is that print second number. If my second number is greater than C and the second number is greater than A, then it simply means second number is greatest, right? Second number is greatest. In the else part, what I will do is that in the else part, it will simply become print third number is greatest, right? Third number is greatest, right? So we have covered the case, we have covered the scenarios, right? Let us run the code and check. So let me enter first 12 and then 11 and then 10. So my first number will be greatest. Okay, so I'm getting first number is greatest and I'm getting third number is greatest. Why I got that? Because I wrote it in the if part. So right, if I'll add elif here, now the program will work absolutely fine. Now you see what happened. If I entered 12 and then I entered 13 and then I entered 12, now you see I'm getting first number is greatest, right? So that was something that we were missing, right? And that is the reason we should give elif. Otherwise, is this condition was getting checked independently, and then we were getting another situation. Okay, so that is the reason first I wrote elif, and then I said that let's, for the simplicity, so that you can understand how it differs. Okay, so I hope that you got a clear understanding now. Let us run it one more time, and this time let's make the second number greatest. So first number I'll enter as 13, second number I'll enter as 14, and the third number I'll enter as 12. So I'm getting second number is greatest. That is also coming absolutely fine. Let us run the code for the third scenario, where I'm giving 12 and then I'm giving 13 and I'm getting 14, and I'm seeing enter third number. What happened? Let me run the code again. Okay, so in this part we haven't added the another situation, right? Now in the else part, what I should do is that in the else part, if A is greater than B, if that is not the case, okay, and B is not greater than C, then we should add one more condition over here, right? What is the condition? We will write one more elif, and here I will write if C greater than A. Okay, and here also I will write if C greater than A, and here I can write one more situation, if C greater than B also, right? Here we can add one more condition, c is greater than b. Then what I can do is that I can make print. Of course, this is not the optimized code. Okay, this is not the optimized code. We are just keeping on adding the situation as the need arises. Okay, for the beginner level, this is absolutely fine. Okay, it was not like, we have decided we are going with the flow. Then to minimize the number of statement, we are not doing that. We are just simply doing it as the situation is coming up. Okay, so here what we can do is that we can write third number is greatest. Third number is greatest, right? Third number is greatest. Okay, if c is greater than e and c is also greater than b, then we can write third number is greatest. Now let us run the code for the third situation where the things were not working. What happened? It is saying invalid literal. Where it is invalid literal? Where did I miss anything? Did I miss anything? Invalid literal Python a value base invalid literal for int. What did I do error? Everything was working fine. Why all of a sudden it came? Elif c greater than e. It is also good enough. Let us save it and run it one more time. Now it is c. See, there was no error, but this stupid system. So now it is c. Third number is greatest. Okay. Now let us try to understand how this program is working. Okay. Let us try to debug it now. Okay. And I did not put the debugger point though, so I have to put the debugger point here. Okay. And let us see if it is going there. So first number I'm giving as 12, then I'm giving as 13, then I'm giving as 14. Now you see what happens. If I'll check this particular condition, let me remove all this expression. If I check this particular condition, what it is, this particular condition, e greater than b. If I'll check this condition into the watch, right, you see here this condition is false because my first number is 12, second number is 13. So it will not go into the nested if, it will go into the elif part directly. B greater than c, it's 13 greater than 14. No, that is also not there. Now it is coming to c greater than a. Yes, 14 is greater than 13, right? So in that case, what will happen is that it will go inside this if statement, and here it will give you this message, the third number is greatest, and you are getting it. Okay, so this is the first scenario. Second scenario is that when I am entering the first number as greatest, okay, the first number as greatest, the first number as greatest, the second number and third number. So now you see e greater than b, this condition is coming as true. So now it will go here and it will check this condition also. Is e greater than c? Yes, that condition is also true. So what it will do is that it will print first number is greatest. So now you see what happened. First it checked this condition, then we have nested if, it checked this condition. If it is true, then it went inside, and after that the program got over. It will not go into this else, it will not go into this elif, it will not go into this elif. Okay. So that was the whole idea of explaining it to you. Of course, this is not an optimized code for finding, the greatest among three number, right? We have a much better way of writing. We can use logical statement also, and we can simplify it, right? But just to tell you how things work, of course, this example was much better than what was written there, right? So a greater than b and then if greater than c. So this is called nested if. Okay, this is called nested if. So I hope now you have a better understanding about how the nested if works. Okay, and you can write nested if on your own, and always remember that if, and then we have elif, and then we have elif. So if this part happens, if this part is true, then what will happen is that it will come over here and check this condition. If this is true, then this will happen, and it will not go into this, it will not go into this whole part, it will not go into this whole part. Okay, always remember that with elif, one of the condition is found to be true, the other condition does not get executed. Now going back, and here we have something called a shorthand if statement, which is there in Python, which is very handy at times. Okay, so whenever there is only a single statement to be executed inside the if block, then shorthand if can be used. The statement can be put on the same line as the if statement, like if condition, then put a colon and you write the statement. Like look at this example. So if I is equal to 10, if I less than 15, you put a colon. You do not print enter, press enter and give indentation. After the colon, you directly write print I is less than 15. It is going to work out. Okay. So let me go over there and write it for you in a very simple way. Okay. In a very simple way, I'll just write I equal to 10. And here what I will do is that I will write if I equal to 10, then print. Okay. I is less than 10. Okay. And if I run this, and if I run the code, okay, let me make it clear first so that things will be there. Now you see What happened? This is like, if you do not save it, it doesn't work. It is coming, I is less than 15. But why when I'm clearing it, it is not coming like this? Run the code. See, I is less than 10, it is coming. If I change the value to 12 or 13, now in that case, I won't get any output. I won't get any output, right? So this is how it is working, the shorthand, and you can write it in the same line. You do not have to do anything else, okay? Now going to the another one, which is the next one, shorthand if else statement. How it works? You can write if and else in the same line, shorthand. So this can be used to write the if statement in a single line where there is only one statement to be executed in both if and else block. You see here, if I equal to 10, print true. If I less than 15, else print false. Now see, this is completely different, right? How the syntax is statement when true, and then you write if condition, and then you write else statement when false. Okay, so first you write the statement, and then you write the condition, and then you write the else, and then you write the another statement. Okay, so let me write it for you here. Okay, so I equal to 13, and then here I will write print I I is less than I is less than 10. Okay, if I is less than 10, if I less than 10, else print I is greater than 10. Okay, now you see I wrote this, and now I have my value as I 13. So of course it it will go into the else part. It will give me I is greater than 10, right? If I change the value of I to 9, and now if I run the code, now you see I am getting I is less than 10. Okay, I wrote is there, that is the reason it is coming is. Now you see it is coming I is less than 10, right? So what you do, first you write the statement in the shorthand. First you write the statement. Okay, first you write the statement, then you have the condition, right? Then you write the condition with the if condition, and then you have the else keyword, and then you write another statement. So this is for the true part, and this is for the false part. Okay, this is for the false part. Okay, this is for the false part. Okay, you use it only when you understand it. Otherwise, you go with the normal conventional way. But now you know there is something, so you won't get shocked if you find something like this. Okay, so that was all about the conditional statement. Of course, it was pretty long, but we did all kind of hands-on for every example, and I'll recommend you to watch it once again. Do it, do the practice once again. And in case you have any question, please do reach out to us. Thank you so much. We'll meet in the next video.